Hi everyone, my name is Ransom, and today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the basics of VLOOKUPs inside Excel. We're going to break down the formula into its different components and explain them, and then we're going to be using the VLOOKUP formula in different examples where absolute cell referencing doesn't matter and absolute cell referencing does matter. Let's get started. So there's three main components to a VLOOKUP formula and one optional component. The first value you enter into a VLOOKUP formula is your lookup value. This is the value you want Excel to find within the table array you're about to define. You can almost think of the lookup value as what you would type into Google when you're looking for something, like what you would enter into a search bar. The table array is basically whatever set of data you want Excel to look in. It's important to note, for a VLOOKUP formula to actually work, you have to have the value you want Excel to look up in the leftmost column of your table array. That might not make sense now, but you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. The column index number is the number column of the table array that you want Excel to return if it finds a matching value. This part of the VLOOKUP formula is considered optional because if you don't specify whether you want it to be true or false, it'll automatically default to false. If there is no matching value, you might see something like the cell I11 pop up on your screen that just says £NA. If you specify true in the formula bar, Excel will actually return you the nearest result for your lookup value. Meaning, if you enter 001 and there is no 001, but there is a 002, Excel will return the result for the 002 instead. But just to reiterate, Excel only does this if you specify true in the formula bar. In most cases, you're probably not using a VLOOKUP to find information on the same page, but in order to explain VLOOKUP easily, I'm going to be pulling data all from the same worksheet. The blue in columns L through M is going to be the table array we're going to use. Even though we'll be manually putting our column index number into the formula, we have the yellow cells in cells L15 through N15 to tell us which column we want to use. In this example, we're using an order number as a lookup value to find the parts description in the table array. We're going to get started by just typing in cell F7 equals VLOOKUP. Now that we have VLOOKUP typed into our cell, we're able to select our lookup value. For this cell, we're going to be looking up the value in D7. We can add it to the formula one of two ways. We can either type D7 ourselves or just drag our cursor over to the cell and click on it. After you have the lookup value in your formula, you have to add a comma in order to lock it in. Now, Excel is asking us for a table array. The table array we're going to be using is located on this worksheet and starts in cell L18. So we're going to select cell 18, L18, drag it all the way over to N18, and then drag it all the way down to the bottom of the table array. In this case, there's actually 1014 rows. Now that we have our table array selected, we're going to place another comma in order to lock in our table array. Now, Excel is asking us for a column index number. As a reminder from earlier, the column index number refers to the column of the table array, not the worksheet itself. So in this scenario, since we're looking up the part number or order number, whichever you'd like to refer to it as, in column 1, and we're wanting to return the part description for each order number, we're going to tell Excel we wanted to return the third column of our table array. And we can do that by just putting the number 3 in our formula. At this point, I could be done because I'm going to put false as the optional component of this formula. However, I always type it out just to be sure. Now that I've added false, I add a closing parentheses in order to finish off the formula and hit enter. As you can see, it's now telling us that the part description associated with that order number is additional peripheral. In order to copy this formula to the other cells, we're going to do it a simple way and then a more complicated way in the next example. In this example, all we're going to do is highlight the cell we just put the formula in, click the bottom right box in the cell, and drag it all the way down. Once I let go of the left mouse button, I should have 100 formulas. I've set up an example where the parts directory is actually smaller than the list of order numbers we're searching for. Therefore, this VLOOKUP will require absolute cell referencing. I've set up this new example to be ready for us to put our table array into the VLOOKUP formula. This example is slightly different though, because our table array is actually on a different worksheet this time. But we can actually get Excel to do the referencing for us in this instance. All we have to do is select the other worksheet. At this point, we're still technically typing in our formula, but we're on the other worksheet and able to select data. And by select data, I mean we can highlight our table array and lock it into the formula. So I'm just going to highlight the same table array and then lock it in with a comma. Now in this instance, we still want the part description, so we still want the third column of data. Therefore, we're going to put a 3 for the column index number. Now, you're probably thinking, we have a full formula, but we're not on the right page. What do we do? All you have to do at this point is press enter. Once you press enter, Excel will take you back to the worksheet you had entered the formula on. But we're not done yet. At this point, we need to make sure we use absolute cell referencing for our table array. We can do this by going back into the formula we just typed, highlighting the cells of the table array, in this case C7 and E18, and adding $ before both the C and the 7 and the E and the 15. There's a very easy shortcut to adding $ to your cell references. We can automatically add both the $ to the E and the 15 by clicking the F4 button. As you can see, immediately after hitting F4, Excel automatically added $ to both the E and the 15 for me. We do not want to add absolute references to the lookup value. We want this value to be dynamic, meaning it actually changes as we pull the formula down to other cells. The $ lets Excel know those cells are not supposed to change. They will stay consistent no matter where you place this formula in the document. But now that we've added absolute referencing to our cell, all we have to do is click enter. In this example, we're not going to just be dragging down the cell. What we're going to be doing instead is copying the cell we just made and pasting just the formula into the other cells. The way we can do that is by highlighting the cell we just wrote the VLOOKUP function in, going up to the Home tab of our ribbon and clicking Copy. At this point, what we need to do is highlight all of the other cells where we want the VLOOKUP to go. Once we have all of the cells highlighted, we're going to go back up to the Home tab in the ribbon. Navigate to the far left side where it says Paste and click the drop-down arrow. Now you'll see a list of options. The paste option we want to use is formulas. If you hover over it, it'll show you exactly what you can expect whenever we click this button. Considering it's actually showing us results and no errors, I'm going to click this button. Now we have a completed VLOOKUP function with absolute cell referencing. And that about covers all of the basics of a VLOOKUP formula inside Excel. If you found any of the information in this video useful, please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about Excel, or there's anything you'd like to know, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to be able to share everything I know about Excel with you. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.